Good morning everyone. It is a lovely morning here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And today, in July 2024, it is a special day because Binary Audio is releasing this Dynaquattro, available through HiFiGO today at the price of $259. I would like to thank HiFiGO for the review unit which has been sent to me in advance. I have been able to spend in excess of 100 hours on it. Just like many other upper tier IEM nowadays, it comes with modular cable. So you can easily interchange between 4.4 mm balance here and 3.5 mm single-ended. It is on the larger side of things compared with other IEM in the market nowadays. I think it makes sense because they need to contain 4 different type of dynamic drivers inside. Despite being on the larger side, I must admit that it is definitely comfortable. I was able to use it, wear it in excess of up to 4 hours even. Not just for music, but also for gaming and also for watching movies on my PC. And I did mention just now, comfort is good. So does the seal. Based on my estimation, with this kind of seal, it is in excess of probably close to 20 dB of isolation, which is definitely very good. Let's just talk about some of the important elements which I would like to address now. Honestly, I found the silicone tips to be not suitable for this Dynaquattro because the kind of sound which I'm getting was very compressed and cave in with the sound stage. Yes, the construction of this Dynaquattro, 4 drivers inside with crossover, does impart very holographic kind of sound, okay, which is exceedingly good for gaming, for binaural type of music. But in the process of doing that, somehow it managed to compress the soundstage to a point that I feel it is narrow. So in order to solve that problem, as you can see here, I opted to swap out the silicone tips, the stock silicone tips from Dynaquattro, and choose to use KZ foam tips. And surprisingly, pleasantly, the soundstage improved to a point that I would consider it to be more open and wide sounding now. So just take note of that. And then secondly, driving it. Despite being rated at 23 ohm with 111 of sensitivity, this Dynaquattro seems to need power to sound the best. At the first time when I received it, just like many other IEM which I have tested, I used this Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV, my phone here, and I was able to get proper sound of it. But then again, we are talking about almost like at least 90% of volume in order to achieve proper listening level. And some song, I literally have to squeeze it all the way to 100% to get a decent volume out of this Dynaquattro. So this thing need power, and true indeed, when I switch to something a lot more powerful like this IBASO DX180, my favorite depth here. Okay, let me just show you. Okay, from the 4.4 mm balance, I needed the volume at around 40 to 44 out of 100, which is still very high compared to many other IEM, especially if you compare with hybrids, highly sensitive hybrid, which only needed at around 30. And the same can be said also when I attach it to this IBASO DC07 Pro and Onyx Alpha, which is my favorite dongle. So just remember this. If you are getting Dynaquattro, just make sure that you have enough power to drive it properly. Can they pull this off? 4 dynamic drivers in a single IEM. Can they achieve coherency? Because one thing for sure, what I am hearing from this Dynaquattro right off the bat, right out of the box, is coherency. Despite having 4 different dynamic driver, Binary was able to tune it in such a way that they achieve harmony between different sound frequency emitted by those 4 dynamic drivers. There's no disconnect. There's no sense of, let's say for example, one driver behaving faster or slower than the other. So we are talking about pace, rhythm and timing, which is very well executed in this particular IEM. And talking about one of the benefit of using multiple drivers, one of the key reasons is that on the technical aspect of it, you're gonna get very cleanly defined separation and layering. This is what you can expect from Dynaquattro. And on top of that, having multiple drivers also means that you're gonna get something which is very holographic. Like I mentioned earlier, holographic yet suffering some issue with soundstage, which can be easily fixed by just simply changing the ear tips here. Okay, when I say holographic, it is also super suitable for gaming. I have used this Dynaquattro playing my favorite game, Starfield, and I was impressed with the kind of immersion that it offers, the kind of holographic spatial imaging that it offers, pinpoint accuracy and full-bodied sound. So the experience for gaming on this Dynaquattro is definitely one I would highly recommend to go for. And when we talk about the sound aspect itself, in general, I would say that Dynaquattro, despite being kind of like a bit advanced for a dynamic driver, does still offer the kind of traditional dynamic driver sort of sound. Tonality, timbre-wise and everything, which means that this thing does not sound metallic at all. Proper balance of musicality as well as being analytical at the same time for a dynamic driver. But then again, let's just have a quick look at the upper frequency. Now, I'm just gonna simply put it this way. If you love sparkly, energetic treble, if you are treble head, then perhaps Dynaquattro might not satisfy that need, because you're gonna get a bit more of resolution from IEM, which are typically built around balanced amateur or even magnetic planar. The transient speed of magnetic planar and even balanced amateur tend to be faster, and they resolve a bit more into the furthest extension of the treble itself. So what I'm trying to say here, in the simplest term, despite being amply energetic, vibrant and engaging, this thing does not resolve far enough, so it is kind of a bit roll off. From another perspective, you can almost say that Dynaquattro is suitable for people who are treble sensitive. And then when we talk about the mid-range offers the kind of transparency. I am not hearing any kind of coloration. I am not hearing any kind of warming effect or drying effect. So transparent means that I am hearing the kind of vocals, male or female, as how it was intended from the recording itself. Contralto sounds like contralto, baritone sounds like baritone, and even the high-pitched soprano retain that proper high-pitched, near sibilant kind of sound, which is how it should be. And then the same can be said for the instrument itself. The attack is crisp, the attack is, smooth edge while being crispy, and you're gonna get very good texture and definition out of it. For people who love mid-bass, this is one of them, okay? I absolutely love using this Dynaquattro when subjected to listening to something like a dark wave from this She Passed Away. It's just so groovy sounding, it just, offering the kind of experience which is immersive, and the balance between mid-bass and sub-bass is just simply very well defined. And the same can be said when listening to metal music. Like this, my favorite band of mine, which is Sonic Violence. This particular band uses two basses, which means that they offer the kind of layered presentation of bass from sub-bass, mid-bass, and then interchange with low octave guitar. And the kind of output which I'm hearing is just simply like, it invites you to kind of like do this headbanging at the same time. And not just that, it is super flexible to any type of music. Taking into consideration with all the elements which I have mentioned previously, this is how it looked like. You can click on the link below in the description for ND Audiovox IEM ranking system, and you're gonna see that this Dynaquattro scored 64 out of 100, and it scores very highly on Pratt, pretty much very good with the rest of the sound aspect of it, the blue segment, and also very good with sound dynamics, which is 4 out of 5 for bass, because I do love the kind of bass performance coming from this Dynaquattro. And in fact, if I were to compare it with some of the competition in the market, perhaps I can bring some direct comparison with Full Performer 5, which is another IEM that offer the kind of bass which I love, that subwoofer kind of effect. So the difference here is that perhaps I would even say that Full Performer 5 would offer a bit more focus on the sub bass, not so much on the mid bass. So it is more suitable to certain type of genre of music, especially electronic, while this Dynaquattro, I would just simply say, more suited to every type of music. Anything from metal, pop, electronic, dance, you name it, it is suitable. And at the same time, it is versatile enough that it can still handle technical jazz and classical music. So if you're looking for an all-rounder, kind of a bit special, perhaps you should consider this Dynaquattro.